The following episode contains material that may be disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back, Scary Dolls.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Mandy.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Carol.
And you are listening to Scary Not Scary Podcast.
We have donut holes.
Yeah, Gato was swallowing right before we started.
I swallowed a big one.
So we were talking about how like the ASMR, like little Asian Chinese people, how they stick a whole chicken breast in their mouth and they pull out the bone.
Mm-mm.
I don't understand how they open their mouths that wide.
And
I
they're
don't
all-
get it.
It doesn't look like their
It
jaw
looks like they
dislocates.
unlock their jaw and then lock it back up when they're done.
Oh.
I wish we could. I mean, I think that would be cool, right?
Or even when they eat the pizza, like the way they stick the pizza,
The whole pizza?
the whole pizza in their
The
mouth.
whole
Yes.
square.
I want to see this, but then I don't.
I have a bunch of videos saved. I know we send them to Carol. So
I almost want to
they're in
grab
my
it.
Instagram. I'm like, how? She's like, I don't know. They know how to swallow.
I want to go give them a turkey leg and be like, try this. You
Can
have
you
to
do this
challenge
one?
them.
It's so weird, right? Because they'll put a huge thing of noodles in their mouth, and then you see it bulging out on the side, and then they do this thing where they eat sausage and dip it in cheese, and then they'll
That
eat
kind of
it.
sounds good.
So it's the noodles, and then they eat the sausage, and it just eat it together, and they swallow it. It's not a few swallows. It's one big gulp,
Yeah.
and then they get
the
more.
hell?
And they're so thin. I'm jealous.
I know.
How
all
do
of them
you
are
eat that
thin.
much?
All of them are
Um,
pencil thin.
I know.
Rude.
How rude, right?
It's very interesting. And then you keep watching more and more, and you're like, and they're all, oh, and then they eat more. How? Well, I don't even know what they say. But you know what I'm talking about, right? They're all,
And they look so excited to eat. I'm like,
know.
yes, girl.
I want to look for one now just to show you.
know.
They're all,
god.
they go,
Yeah, like this. They're probably so amazed, dang, look what I created.
yeah.
Right here.
Their food always looks so good too. When they eat the king crabs,
When
I
they
love
dip
king
it in
crab.
all these different kind of sauces. Oh, girl. I'm
and they
hungry.
always have a bowl of melted cheese next to them, and they dip
Yeah.
everything in cheese.
Everything tastes better with cheese.
Yes, even
I'm
donuts.
obsessed with cheese.
Cheesy donuts.
I dip my donuts in cheese. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
Okay, are you ready to hear my series of scary events that happened to me this week?
Hurry.
Are they
Okay,
really,
hurry.
really scary, or are they just kind of
Well, they happened at
creepy?
work.
Oh, they're scary. Okay. Hold
I
up.
love work.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so obviously I was out of work the week before, so then I came back. Monday was fine, and Tuesday, my boss was standing by my office, right? I had left to go pick up more masks for the clinic, and I always shut my door. And so when I came back, she's standing by my door, but she's doing putting her ear to my doorbell. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I hear a conversation happening in your office. She's like, I thought you were in there with somebody. She's like, but I could have sworn I just saw you leave. And I was like, yeah, I left to go pick a mask. And I opened up my door and there's nothing there. I was like, well, maybe it was Alexa. Maybe I had my music on, and I checked and the music was off. She wasn't playing. And she's like, I don't know, you're back, so that means you brought all your ghosts back, you bruja. And she walked out and went to her meeting, right? You know how Amanda is. She's
Yes.
all about that. And she knows that I'm clairvoyant. She knows all that stuff because she had asked me before, because when she was pregnant with her son, she felt that something was following her, watching her. So she had asked me if I saw any energies around her or anything. Yeah, she's funny. But so I can't remember if it was that day or the next day, to be honest, and it was all this week. So where my office is, behind one of my walls is the bathroom that's downstairs. And I don't hear people. I can hear the toilet flush, and I can hear just the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't actually hear anybody peeing or taking a poop or anything. That would be weird. But somebody started knocking on the wall. And Jen was working down there this week. So I knocked back thinking it was her, right? And then it knocked back again. And I was like, stupid. So then I kept knocking back. Well, we kept going back and forth. And then it did, or I thought she did like a few last knocks. So I did a few knocks again. And I waited. Nothing, right? And I was like, that's weird. Wait, I haven't heard a toilet flush or anything. So I'm sitting there for a long time, like waiting. I'm like, that's weird. So then I message her. I'm like, hey, were you in the bathroom? And she hadn't wrote me back. So I got up and went over there. There was nobody in there. It was just her. And I looked in the bathroom and like the lights were off and everything. And she's on the phone with the patient. And there's another nurse. Actually, no, there was another nurse in there, but she was on the phone with the patient too. So I was like, okay, like somebody had to have been in the bathroom. So then I waited for her to get off and I'm like, hey, were you in the bathroom right now? She's like, no. And I was like, did you see anybody go in the bathroom? She's like, no, I didn't see anybody. Why? And I was like, because somebody was like knocking back and forth with me for like a good 10 minutes. I thought it was you. She's like, why would you knock back? I'm like, I thought it was you. Because there's sometimes where she's in the restroom and like she'll knock on the wall. Not all the time, but very rarely if she wants to try to freak me out or whatever. So she's like, I swear to God, like it wasn't me. I don't know who or what it was. I was like, okay. Like, so I left it alone. So Friday morning, I get to work. I'm like, fuck, I have to pee, like always. So then I go to the restroom and the door, that was Sabrina. Oh. She knocks on the door.
Oh.
So I go to the bathroom and like the door is closed, right? Anthony's sitting there, the Michelles. We have two nurses named Michelles. We call them the Michelles. Our coworker Juan's standing there talking to Jen, and then our other coworker Glow is in her office. And I knock on there. I was like, who's in the bathroom? Well, actually, one of the Michelles wasn't at her desk, so I assumed it was her. So I knock on the bathroom, and everybody knows the story about Lupita, right? So I'm like, Lupita, hello, who's in the bathroom? And then I hear, I am. And then, so I was like, okay, like Michelle's in there. So I back up, and then Jen's like, what are you doing? And I was like, somebody's in the bathroom. And she's like, nobody's in there. I was like, nah, because she just said, I'm in here. And she's like, who? I was like, Michelle. She was, no, she just went to go do rounds with patients. I was like, shut up. So then I knock on the door again, and I don't hear anything. So I open the door, and like the lights are off, and nobody's in there.
Oh my God.
So she's like, are you still going to use the bathroom? I'm like, hell yeah, I need to pee.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would have been like, nope, I'm using the other one. What the
but
hell?
it was just like a series of like events that happened at work. It was weird.
It's because they missed you, the ghosts. They're like,
yeah.
Like you were gone for a week.
You
What the
were
hell?
gone.
Yeah.
And we don't have anyone else to pick on other than me,
Oh
but
my
Lupita
God.
just likes to pull my hair.
Yeah, she does.
Mm-mm.
I
And-
wear it up now.
And you're in that corner by yourself.
Yeah, I have a little corner now. My own little corner.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So then, one more thing. So this kind of gave me like doppelganger vibes that my little sister told me. So, because y'all don't know, my little sister, she sees stuff just like me. But I think her abilities are more open than what I was because I didn't start seeing, well, my mom said I've always seen things, but not the way Sophia does. And like Sophia's like very, like she can see and feel things that I can't. So I think she's going to be very like intuitive with everything. And
Yeah.
like she's very into like when we go get limpias done, like when we go and get cleanings, she wants to know like how they do the cleanings, how you say the words, like the tarot cards, like she's all interested in that stuff. And I had loved the paranormal when I was little, but I wasn't interested in it the way she is.
Yeah.
So I think when she gets older, like she's really going to help people. Like she's going to be all about it. So anyways, she said that she was asleep Friday morning. My mom was waking her up and she was like, Mandy, I swear mom was waking me up. She was like, and I saw you peek your head around the corner of the door. She was like, and you looked at me. And I was like, what? She goes, yeah. She said that she woke up, she saw me, and she kind of smirked because she said she got excited that I was there in the morning. And she thought maybe I was dropping off like the baby or something. And then after she completely woke up, she was like, hey, Mom, where's Mandy? And my mom's like, going to work. Why? No, I saw her this morning when you were waking me up. I saw her by the door. She was like, what door? She's like, by the bedroom door. My mom's like, no, Mandy's not here. Mom, I saw her. She was standing by the door. She even smiled at me when you were waking me up. So she told me, she goes, Maddie, I swear it was you. Like, you, like, pulled your head around the corner. You smiled at me. She was like, and that's what, like, motivated me to wake up because I was excited that you were here because I thought you were dropping the baby off so we could take care of her. And I was like, no, I was at work.
Oh, my God.
And the fact that it smiled at her.
Yeah. So I didn't say anything. I was like, I don't know, Sophia, like maybe because I don't like, she's so little and she's very open to that stuff, but it still scares her because she's so little.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't know, Sophia. I was like, maybe you're just like, because you missed me so much, like you thought you saw me. And she's like, well, maybe, yeah, maybe you're right. She goes, I swear it was you though. Like you crystal as day, like you just like popped your head around the corner of the door and like you smiled at me. And I was like, no, it wasn't me.
You were dreaming.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I got like doppelganger vibes when she told me that.
Probably because we were talking about them not too long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right. Nope. No thanks.
So those are my series of events that happened this past week.
Well, you had a very eventful week.
I did. Very eventful week.
Very eventful. Sounds like fun.
What about you? Do you have anything besides your cat?
Just boring this week.
Yeah, it was boring this week. No goals for me.
Okay. So,
No, made you this.
Uh-oh.
as you heard in the beginning of this episode, our little disclaimer, this episode's going to be probably intense for some people. So, if you're sensitive to murders, child murders, or specifically child or children killing children, you can fast forward all the way to the end.
To our outro.
But this week we're going to be talking about child killers. Not like people who kill children, like children killing children. It's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Or children killing other stuff.
That too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's get started.
Oh, man. So when I was, like, researching, I was, like, trying to find, like, a really, really good one. And for some reason, this one just, like, stuck out to me because it's just so bizarre. Like, it's so weird. So I'm doing the story of Shirley Wolf and Cindy Collier, I think is her last name. So Shirley is 15 years old. No, 14, sorry. And Cindy's 15. So they weren't friends. Like, that's the weird thing. They basically met, like, I think the day before they actually did their killing, which was so crazy. Like, they just met and were like, they kind of like bonded because they want what?
Sorry. They like bonded for the wrong reason.
Basically, they did because they like bonded over, they wanted to get out of their town. And they didn't live like in a small town. They lived in, I forgot where it was. I think it was like 33 minutes outside of Sacramento. And it was in Auburn, California. It was in Auburn, California. So it wasn't like a small, little town or anything like that. But they just, for some reason, wanted to leave town. So that's like how they met each other, like after school somehow. Like they weren't even friends. They just met each other and they like bonded over like, oh, we want to leave this town, get out of here. So their bright idea, right? They're 14, 15 years old. They're like, why don't we steal a car? Instead of just like jacking a car that's like abandoned, they're like, oh, in order to steal a car, we got to kill somebody and get their car. So that was their logic. They were like, that's how we're going to get out of town. We're going to kill somebody, steal their car. That's how we're going to leave, right? I'm like, guys, really? You could have just like taken a car that was on the side of the road or something. Like, come on. So they like meet each other. They devise this plan. They're going to like steal a car, then to kill somebody. But they didn't know anybody themselves that had a car that they could kill. So they were like, it has to be random. Got to be like a stranger. So down the street from Cindy's house, there was like one of those, not apartments, but like condos. So they decided to go and knock on each door. And what I thought was the funny thing was they knocked on at least like 4 or 5 doors, but they only killed one person out of those 4 or 5 doors. And the very first one that they walked into, it was a lady and a man. And the wife answered the door. And they did their whole bit like, oh, like, we're lost, or, oh, we need like a glass of water or something like that. So, of course, they're going to like take pity on the little girls. So the wife brings them in and they just start like, oh, I need to use the phone. Can I use your phone? And so the wife kind of felt like something's off. Like, I don't feel like right. And so the husband's like, no, they're just little girls. Like, it's fine. Just give them the water, let them use the phone, and then let them go on their way. So the wife's like, no. She's like, something's up. So she says she just got a weird feeling. And for some reason, I guess they could tell that she was like watching them. They left. They were like, okay, like we're going to leave now. And they left. And then she ends up, the wife, calling like the cops and saying like, hey, there's like these girls that came to my door. They're like 14, 15 years old. Just something's not right with them. But the police didn't really like
take it serious.
Yeah. Like they took it serious, but they took their time like going out to the call. And then they knocked on 2 more doors, but it doesn't say like whose they were. And then they finally knocked on Anne Barackett's door. She was an 85-year-old woman. And she did the same thing, like, we're lost, we need to use the phone, blah, blah, blah. So then they go in, and they're in that house, in the condo with her for about an hour and a half. So they're like having a conversation. So to me, it sounded like they were kind of like scoping out their people. I guess they were asking questions like, like, do they have family? Do they have people that are going to come and like look at them, look for them? So then they go to Anne Brackett's house, and she's 85 years old. And then they end up attacking her and brutally beating her to death. Oh. Yeah. And
Grandma.
Yeah. And she was by herself. Like, she lived by herself. So then they take her keys and they steal her car and they leave. Well, and that's when the cops show up for the other lady. And then one of the neighbors of Anne Brackett, they heard like noise. So then they saw the cops and were like, hey, like there's something going on. Like, she's 85. Can you check on her? So then they go in and they see her like dead, like on the floor. So then they go start searching for their car. They end up catching the girls. And the creepy thing that I was like, what the hell, was Cindy had a diary that she kept. So she basically documented the whole thing in her diary from the minute that she met Shirley to the minute that they killed Anne Brackett and started running off. And then they put this one. So they killed her on Tuesday, June 14th, because she documented it in her diary. And it says today, Shirley had the diary, not Cindy. She says, today, Cindy and I ran away and we killed an old lady. It was lots of fun, is what she put in her diary.
Little psycho.
Dumb bitch.
Yeah. So they like met like an hour a day before, right? So the officers are kind of like trying to figure out like why they decided to do this, because they didn't have like a motive. They just wanted to like get out of town. So basically, one of the girls, I think it was Cindy, she pled insanity. And so they tried them not as adults, they tried them as juveniles. So they were supposed to stay in prison until they were 27. Well, Shirley, she actually had so many run-ins with the law while she was in prison because she tried to escape so many times. Yeah. So there was one part where she had stolen a fire truck that was inside like the facility somehow. So she had stole the fire truck and she ended up accidentally crashing it into the fence and they got her. So then she kind of like added on more years to like her sentence. The other girl, Cindy, she actually like did her time. And then after that, she was paroled in 1992. And then they actually did a story like about them by Joanne Merriam. She's the author of the book called Little Girl Lost, and it's about them too. And last time that author spoke to Cindy, she actually paroled and turned her life around. And she had 4 kids and she lives in North California. So she was a good one after that. Like she like turned her life around after that. The other one, not so much. Like and it was Shirley who tried to plead like insanity, and that way she wouldn't get like so many years or something, but they didn't fall for it, and they gave them they tried them as juveniles, so they technically were supposed to get out when they were 27, but Shirley just kept trying to escape, and she was like really bad. She wasn't listening. She just like tried to do so many things to get out of there, and it didn't work out for her. But what they did was when they went into her Brackett's house, they basically like beat her to death, right? And Cindy, because she's documenting it documenting it in the diary, she like basically says that like she she gives them up completely because she gives like all of the details. So in this one, she says, blood came out of her mouth, so I knew that she was dead. That's when I knew that we had to run away as quickly as we can. So we stole her keys and stole her 1970 Dodge pickup truck that was parked in her garage. So she like basically gave them
she wrote out her own confession.
Yeah. And they were trying to figure out, like, a lot of like psychologists went and like talked to the girls to try and figure out like what happened. Like, why did they do this? They had only met like the day before. Like, what made them want to like kill somebody? And why did she document it like completely? So when they were doing like interviews with her, she basically said like she had never done something like this before, and she just wanted to like keep the memory of it. She wanted to like, I guess, like not forget it, or she wanted to like document the whole thing because it was something that she's never done before, and she felt like an adrenaline rush, and it made her feel totally different than what she's ever felt before. And I was like, you psycho. I was like, are you serious?
Did they have, like, for them to bond so quickly, did they have, like, a rough childhood and they bonded over that? Or?
So, I don't know if it was Cindy or, yeah, it was Cindy. She actually lived with her grandparents. So her grandparents really weren't, like, attentive to her. Mm-hmm. Like, they made sure she went to school. They made sure she ate and, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. But other than that, like, they weren't bad to her. They just weren't, like...
They weren't loving.
Yeah, they weren't as loving. And then Shirley, it doesn't say much about her, but she kind of had the same upbringing. But I think her mom had actually passed away, so it was just her dad.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't think, like, her dad was very...
I wonder if he was abusive to her.
I don't know. It didn't say like on their stuff. I'm pretty sure in that book.
I don't know why. That's the only reason why I would think they would be like bond so quick. I mean, I know like as girls, like we can bond with somebody quickly, but it's usually because you have like that connection.
A common ground.
Common ground with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy.
But both of them say like that they didn't feel like any remorse or like any... Like, she's like, I don't feel any badness. She's like, I didn't feel like I was doing something.
They didn't feel guilty or anything.
Yeah. And so, like, because even the officers, like, when they went out there, there's no way 2 14, 15-year-old kids could do this kind of murder, because they said it was, like, so brutal and how they beat her, like, to death that they're like, there's no way these little kids can, like, do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But they were.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like, I totally think that, like, if Shirley would have, like, gotten out, like, on parole and she didn't try to escape or anything like that, that she probably would have, like, killed more people or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Like knocking?
No, I heard, like bags. Like, somebody going through, like, that, like, HEB bags downstairs.
Weird.
It was weird.
I was
That's why I kept looking. I'm like, is Tim over there? But no.
I thought you were doing the knocking on the site.
That was Sabrina.
Oh.
Sabrina's like, knock, knock, I'm here.
Mm-hmm. I'm here, bitch. That's so crazy. No.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm next, you guys. So, today we're going to be talking about the murder of Derek Roby. I think it's Roby. This happened in 1983. This was a while back. Derek at the time was only like 4 years old. He was like almost 5. He was said to be a good kid. He was like in a lot of sports at school, activities, and he had a lot of friends. He was a good little kid. They lived in a small town in New York called Savona. I've never heard of it, but okay. It was like a very small, tight community where, like, you know, everybody knows each other. So this was August 2nd, 1993. In the morning, Derek's mom would walk him to a summer camp. It was literally down the road. Like, there was no big intersections, no nothing. It was literally just like a dead end road too. So there was no way for him to get lost or anything. It was just down the road. So one day in the morning, they were running a little late to camp. So Derek had a little baby brother, and he was being like really fussy that morning. And Derek was like, you know, Mom, just take care of the baby and I'll walk by myself. The mom was like hesitant, but she's like, okay, like it's literally down the road and like there's no way to get lost. So, I mean, sure, you can walk. he gave her a kiss and was like, I love you, Mom. And she's like, I love you too. So then, well, this happened in 1993 and it was like a different time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would have let my kid go, but so this was actually the first time the mom let him walk anywhere alone. That day, Doreen, that was her name, the mom, went to go pick up her son from camp, but he wasn't there. And the teachers told her that they hadn't seen him all day. They called the police, and in no time, they found Derek's body. So Derek's body was in the field right next to the summer camp. He was bludgeoned, beaten to death, and sodomized.
Oh.
The autopsy report says that his cause of death was from blows to the head. So also, they determined that he died 5 minutes after leaving his house. So right away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how close it was. The community was like shocked. They were sad. Everyone was looking for clues. They're like, this is such a small town. Like, who would do this? Like, everybody here knows each other. It must be some rando from like some other town or something. So there was this one little boy who actually said he saw Derek, and don't get confused because his name is Eric. So this little boy named Eric, he was like 13 at the time, said he ran into Derek because he was walking back from camp. So Eric was already sent home that early in the morning for bad behavior. He was being a little bad kid. So they're like, go home or whatever. Eric was actually like really involved with the police. He kind of was helping them out, telling them where he saw Derek, and like he was like, here, I'll get on my bike and I'll show y'all where I saw him coming. And then I guess there was like a lot of pressure that started building up to Eric, because the way they found Derek's body is they found like a smashed banana, and they noticed that Eric stopped eating bananas when he loved bananas. So like people started kind of to like think something fishy was going on. So I guess he was feeling really guilty one day, and Eric was just like, I killed him. He just told the police straight up that he killed Derek. So Eric happened to be abused by his stepfather all the time. He had no friends. He was always picked on because he had like red hair and freckles. And so everyone would make fun of him. He had big glasses. Like, I'm not saying that's an excuse to kill somebody, but like it might have like a lot to do with his anger issues. He did have anger issues because he told his dad one day that he was feeling like he was really angry, and his dad just was like, go punch something. I don't know what you want me to do.
Oh my God.
So one time Eric punched a tree so hard his knuckles were bleeding, because that's how angry he was at like
Oh my God.
no reason, I guess. I don't know. Well, he was also being bullied. So that day after leaving camp, he said he lured Derek into the field, choked him with a stick, beat his body with rocks until he was like bleeding, and then like sodomized him with that same stick.
Oh, baby.
So the funeral was like paid for by the community and all that. People would take the parents' food. Like, I can only imagine what the mom was going through, because she was the one who let him like go early. But Eric was tried as an adult. He was only 13, but he was tried as an adult. He was sentenced to 9 years to life with the possibility of parole. But he has now been denied parole 8 times. But people are saying that he really changed in prison, and that he says that he wants to help kids when he gets out, if he ever gets out, kids with anger issues. And he wants to go back into society. But I don't know. I just feel like he's going to stay in jail forever.
Well, if he's been denied so many times, it's probably for a good reason.
Yeah.
What
Maybe.
the hell?
But he killed
It's so
this
crazy,
little...
right? Like, you can be so young and like do something so horrible,
Mhm.
especially the sexual abuse.
Oh, yeah. And also, they said that he suffocated a cat with a bag once.
So it progressed.
Yes. So he really wasn't getting the help that he needed. And his parents were just not a lot of help. They're like,
Yeah.
go punch a bag. I don't know what,
Yeah.
I feel like stuff like that, you have to go take, if your kids are acting like that, you have to take them to go get like an eval of some sort, And it ended up that he was just so upset that day from being sent home and all that, and all the anger being built up, that he took it out on little Derek that was only 4 years old.
Wait, he was 4?
No, Eric was 13. Derek was 4.
The little boy
4?
he killed was 4.
Yeah.
And his mom let him walk.
Well, it was in the 90s. It was a different time.
Yeah.
I remember, or like
I don't know.
my grandparents wouldn't let me walk alone, but me and my uncles would always go walking like to the corner store and back, and my uncles were like 13, 14, or 16 at the time. They're in their teens, and I was probably about that age when we would go walking around and stuff. You know what I mean? It was a different time back then.
Yeah. But this was
I feel
like a
my
dead-end
parents were
street,
strict.
and it was like a dead-end street from my understanding, and there was just like a little field that you have to cross, just a little field, and it's right there, the summer camp.
Yeah.
Like there was no
okay.
major road, so literally you just walk down the street and it's right
And you
there.
gotta think too,
Okay.
like it was. I mean, I'm not saying like it's okay to let your kid walk, but it was such a small town too. You know, like as a
Everybody knew
mother,
each
she was
other.
probably
She's
like,
like,
you know
they'll
what,
be
he'll be
fine.
okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was known around town for being like in sports and all that at even such a young age. I think he
Yeah.
played like baseball already. He was
Aw.
little. But I mean,
It's so sad though. I can't even imagine like the pain that she went through.
but like 5 minutes after he left home, like, oh, I don't
That's
know.
horrible.
Yeah. So that the story of Mr. Derek.
Good. I hope they never let him out of jail or prison or whatever.
You know,
Even
a
if he
lot-
did get all the help he needed, that's still
I
doesn't
also too like
sodomize. Like, come on.
also too like I would think that if he were to, for whatever reason, they would let him go out on parole if they would tell, like, one of his restrictions would be you can't be around kids
Mhm.
because of the sexual things that he did to his body. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I get you're angry and stuff, but like sodomize, like that's a
Yeah.
totally different.
I'm totally like,
angry.
what does that mean?
So
Well, we
to-
put a disclaimer, so
Should I just Google it?
I guess you guys
You can Google it, yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like I know what it is, but
it's okay, so pretty much the definition is
it's hard to explain, but because it's gonna be graphic, but just Google it, you guys.
Oh,
You saw
okay, yeah.
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 it? Yeah. Like a 4-year-old.
Okay, so the
Why
definition
the-
of sodomize is to perform unnatural or abnormal sexual intercourse on a person with like penetration with yourself or like themselves or with a foreign
Something.
object. Yeah.
Oh,
Without it being so detailed, that's like pretty much the
Yeah.
definition
Yeah.
of it.
Boy.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
It's okay. When I was little and my mom had the sex talk with me, I always heard the word sodomize, like, and then used and stuff. And I was like, so what does sodomize mean? And she was like,
How
and
do
she
you
told me,
just-
but she pretty much told me like point blank what it was. And I was like,
like, oh my god.
but
What the heck?
like, that's why I was saying, like, because he was so young and for him to do that to this little boy, like, I would think if they were, for whatever crazy reason, let him out in society, that would be one of his restrictions. Like,
yeah.
no, you can't be around kids. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, or
Like, wouldn't he
What-
be
wouldn't he
as
be considered
a sex
sexual
offender?
Yeah.
I think so.
I would think they would
I
have to
would,
register
yeah.
him as a sex offender.
I would think so too. Did you know? I know this is totally random, but if you're caught having sex with somebody, even that's your age, like outside of the park, you know how people like to be adventurous.
Like in public and
You
stuff.
have to you have
Oh,
to be
yeah.
registered as a sex offender.
Really?
Yes.
Mhm.
How
What?
I'm-
Oh my
so
God.
weird.
I think because they see it as like, what if there's kids around and you're having sex?
Yeah.
So it's like you're exploiting yourself to
Yeah.
like
To them.
underage kids.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Is yours like
Okay.
really bad?
I think so. So I did a bunch of research and I actually came across y'all's, but I briefly read about them. And then I came across this one and I was disturbed only because of how young he is. And let's just say he's known as the world's youngest serial killer.
Serial killer?
So it was the year of 2007. Bahavimar police station, which is in Bihar, it's India, Bihar, India. The phone kept ringing like from different people throughout this village, right? And pretty much the police that were these policemen were engaged in like unusual phone calls. So they got this phone call about the villagers capturing a serial killer. And they're like, oh, okay, so we'll go there, we'll investigate. And the police get there and they see that the villagers have this boy in custody. And this boy was 8-year-old named Amajit Sara. And he was a serial killer. He murdered, I believe, 2 infants and 1 toddler.
What?
Yes. So when they showed up to the village, they took him away from the station and they were asking him questions. And he completely said, yeah, I killed so-and-so. But I also killed two others. And they're like, 2 others. And he's like, can I have a biscuit? You know what biscuits are, right? Like cookies. And they were like, you're asking for cookies? Yeah, give me a biscuit and I'll tell you all about the murders.
Oh.
And he actually smiled while he was telling them about how he killed these poor babies and what happened, where he buried them, everything. He had a smile on his face when he was talking about the killings. But before, he had look at his face, he had this icy glare face.
Ew. Sorry.
Yeah, he you can tell you can tell by somebody's eyes there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I wasn't
yeah.
expecting
Yeah.
that. Sorry.
Yeah. So Amajit Sara was born in 1998 in the Burgasi district in Bihar. Later, the family moved to the Mushari village in India. The family was extremely poor. They spent most days in poverty. His father was a farmer, but he made little to nothing. So they were a very poor family. So what got the villagers suspicious about this young boy is that there is his mom, the first victim that they knew about. Well, technically first victim that they thought was a 6-month-old baby girl. So her mom's name is Chung Chung Devi. So what she did is she put her daughter to sleep. She dropped her off at the nearby school. So basically, in this village, their culture is obviously different from ours, but they had this school. It was a daycare. So what the mom did is the mom put the baby to sleep. She laid her daughter down in the school, told the teachers, and then left to go home to finish off her chores at home. So when she came back to the school, the baby was gone. The daughter's name was Klushabu. When the mom came back, the baby was gone. And so they pretty much the whole village was on a search. We got to find this baby girl. This is so weird. She was here 1 minute and suddenly she vanished. So pretty much they saw Abhijit. They saw him walking around and there was witnesses that said that they saw him go into the school. So what he did is literally as soon as the mom laid down the baby girl, he went in almost right after her, grabbed the baby and took off. He strangled her to death. And then he bashed her head in with a stone. He took her to a field and then put her body, just laid her body down, put brushes and sticks and leaves on top of her body and left. So the couple of people that saw him go into the school and leave, they didn't see him leave with her, but they saw him holding something, but the villagers didn't think anything of it. But when the little baby went missing, they were like, no, he knows something. So they questioned him and questioned him and questioned him, and then finally he admitted. So that's when they called the police. So they take him to the police station. That's when he was like, yeah, I took her, I killed her. I'll show you where I put her body. So they go, they find her body, and then they find 2 other bodies. And they question him about that. And that's when he was like, oh, well, give me a biscuit and I'll tell you. So this is where it kind of gets disturbing. So one of the bodies was of a 1-year-old boy. Turned out to be his cousin. So what he did is he took his cousin out to the field, strangled him to death, bashed his head in with stones, buried the body. So the little girl, it happened in 2007. This was the year prior, 2006, the end of the year of 2006. So then that same night or a couple of nights later, his little sister goes missing. She's 6 months old.
Hell no.
6 months old.
No.
She goes missing. And the parents are questioning him about it. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Well, then he's admitted to his parents that he killed her. Took them to her body, even showed them where his cousin's body was. The entire family covered up for him.
Shut up.
The parents and the family covered up for him. Yeah. So they didn't like tell anybody. They didn't tell the police. They didn't tell anybody what happened. But then he went and kidnapped this 6-month-old girl the year after, a couple of months later, which was 2007. And they, pretty much, he got busted. So I couldn't really, it was more about him, like what happened to him. I was trying to find like if the parents got charged, but I think they got charged for conspiracy of murder. Mm-hmm. So pretty much for tampering with the bodies and tampering with evidence. So they got charged. I think they only spent up to like 2 or 3 years like in prison, and then whatever family members knew about him killing the cousin too, because it wasn't just the parents that covered up. It was like
the whole family.
The whole family that knew about it covered up for him. So because of the horrifying case and like how he killed these babies and like his confession, they trialed him as an adult.
8 years old.
8 years old.
Good
shit.
It's because the brutality of the crime, they trialed him. They were like, no, like he's
advanced. Who the hell?
Like what 8-year-old does that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What the fuck?
I can't even imagine. Like that's like my sister. My sister's 8 years old, and like that's like her like doing these horrible crimes. You know what I mean? Like I can't even imagine. Like
yeah.
Oh my god.
So because of this horrified case, it attracted attention from like media, psychologists, like all over the world. He went through like different questionings with psychiatrists, and there is a couple of psychiatrists that pretty much told him that, well, he told psychiatrists that injuring the babies was like pleasurable for him. So like he enjoyed like watching them in pain. He enjoyed like feeling the life leaving like his hands. Like he enjoyed that. Like it was enjoyable for, not sexually, but like he just enjoyed bringing pain and like anguish upon others. So pretty much they told him that he did like there's one psychiatrist that said that he didn't know right from wrong. He didn't understand what he was doing was wrong. Yeah, like he had no like he was just crazy. Like I don't know, like so anyways, they diagnosed him with conduct disorder. Mm-hmm. And they believed that it was like a chemical imbalance in his brain, and that supposedly it could successfully be treated by medication. So, whatever. I don't think so. He's crazy. I think he was a little psychopath. Like, there's no way. Like, it was a chemical imbalance in his brain. And I think the reason why they said that was because he was so young. So they're like, oh, there has to be a chemical imbalance in his brain. No, like, he's a serial killer. He just started early.
Exactly.
And like,
oh my God.
And the thing is, too, because this town was so poor, like, obviously there's dead animals everywhere, but there is, like, no evidence showing that he's the one that killed the animals. But I could assume that he started with animals, got curious. I mean, if you think about it, like, animals are, like, helpless. You know what I mean? Like, they're so little. Like,
and
they don't...
So are babies.
Yeah, and so are babies. So he went from animals to humans. The most helpless human beings that you can find are going to be children, infants. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so it just only made sense to me. I think he's the one that killed, like, a lot of the livestock and stuff that they found dead. So pretty much Indian law prevented Sada from facing any lifelong legal consequences. In fact, the absolute longest sentence that the young serial killer could face was 3 years in a juvenile facility.
3?
3 years. But because of his mental state and like the reasoning for the conviction and sentencing, all that, he was released, and then they put him into a psychiatric facility. So he wasn't in prison. So after he went through juvenile, they locked him up in a psychiatric facility, put him through treatment. In 2015, he ended up staying in a youth home at the age of 18. He's actually free now, living among the community again. And supposedly he changed his name. They don't know what he changed his name into, but apparently, supposedly he turned his life around. And like now he's living in society again in India. But he completely changed his identity. And I couldn't find anything about his parents, like where his parents are now or what, but I could only assume like they have no contact with him or whatever. But
What the fuck?
That is so
What?
random.
yeah.
Jeez.
8 years old.
8 years old, so he's the world's youngest serial killer. In the world.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm like speechless of it. I'm like, what?
But like what pisses me off is the parents hid it. Like they could have
Yes.
avoided the other deaths.
They could have saved that baby's life if they would have reported it when they found out about.
Like, I understand it's
Or
your
keep, like, a
kid and
watch.
stuff, but like, wouldn't you want to get your kid help?
Yeah.
Like, I would. I'd be like,
Exactly.
look, I love you, but you need Jesus.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you need some help.
Yeah.
I could not even imagine.
That's insane. I cannot believe that they did not say anything and they covered it up for him. Like, seriously?
I know.
Yep.
Pisses me off.
And I think what disturbs me is that he's like, yeah, I'll tell you about the other killings, but you have to give me a biscuit. Like, what? Oh my
Because
God.
I get it, they're poor, but like maybe he was hungry. Like, you know what I mean? And that was his way of bribing them. Like,
Like, just give me food and I'll
give
tell
me
you
food
everything.
and I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
But that also shows, like, he's young.
Yeah.
Like, that's how little he is.
Ugh.
And like the different doctors that he saw, they were like, he has no, like, he doesn't know right from wrong. Like, he doesn't even realize what he did was wrong. He was just like, oh, no, I like taking their life. Like, I like how I felt afterwards. Or almost like he liked feeling dominant. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I took it.
Yeah. At
But
only 8 years old.
Like, how?
I don't know.
Like, the only thing I could think of is maybe, like, he would see, like, livestock getting killed. You know what I
like
mean?
the slaughterhouses and
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe.
Okay,
Or, like,
Like-
how they did that.
I don't understand. Like, okay, here, I guess, like in the US, we have TV, we have internet. Kids have access to that. But did he have access? I don't.
No,
think
they were
so.
in
like,
poverty.
how?
Like they lived
Like,
in a. They
that's
lived
what
in
I'm
a
saying,
small remote
Exactly.
village.
But like, how is that's
Well, you know how
just natural
sometimes,
to him
like-
then?
Yeah.
You know how sometimes,
know.
like, when, like, farmers and stuff, they kill, like, their cows and they do kind of bludgeon them over the head, like, with something. Like, if it's a bat or something, they sometimes do to, like, kill them quickly. So that's why I'm like, maybe he would see that and, like, let me try that on something.
Mhm.
There's even in one of these articles that I read, it's called the gulfinsider.com. They even put like in their article, like some of the details from the murders were not released to the public because of how disturbing they were. So like him like strangling the babies and like bludgeoning them to death, like probably wasn't even like half of what he did to them.
Oh no.
I honestly don't think there's any sexual things that happened because I think they would have put that in there.
Yeah.
Not give details, but they would have said
They
like,
would have
there was
said
sexual orientation
sodomized.
or something. Yeah. But I mean, maybe he like decapitated them or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it, honestly, from that little cycle. Sorry.
Pretty much
I
like
believe
they.
he's out and about. What if he has a kid one day? Or what if he already has a kid and he has urges? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So they tried trialing him as an adult, but they wanted to, but I think his lawyers were like, because he was so young, no. So they put him in juvenile.
Yeah.
Got out, put him in like a psychiatric facility. Supposedly he's
Oh,
healthy again. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
Wait,
the medication works.
Isn't like if you're in juvenile, like as you're an adult, aren't those like expunged? I know. I think doesn't that work here in the U.S.? Like,
I think that's in Canada.
is it?
I think it's like only like if you have like a police record. Like
As a
if
juvenile?
I think like if you've gotten in trouble, like, you know, speeding or like, you know, breaking into a house, like and stuff like that. I don't think it goes.
It
for
doesn't
murder.
go for murders, but in Canada it does. Like
It does in Canada.
In Canada, if you murder someone, I guess as a kid, when you're an adult, like it basically doesn't count anymore.
What?
I don't know, something like that.
Canada.
Oh, it
Come
actually
on, bro.
says here that
Get it
in
together.
2000, here at the end of the article, it says in 2015 he called he contacted the media and like told them that he was going to be staying in a youth home when he turned the age of 18. He was going to change his identity and try to live a normal life.
Stupid little fuckhead. That's scary.
I wouldn't have let him out.
I wouldn't
either. He's a little psycho.
Because what if, like, okay, let's say they do give him medication or something, right? That suppresses that. Mm-hmm. What if he doesn't take the medication anymore once he's out?
Like a mental break?
Yes. Yeah. What if something triggers him and then
I think
boom,
what
he
scares
goes.
me too is like if the witnesses didn't see him or didn't think anything of it, you know, or question what they saw with him leaving like the school. Like how many more babies he would have killed? You know what I mean?
Yeah. If they didn't catch him that day.
Oh. Exactly. You're right.
Nope.
It's horrible.
So moral of the story, don't have children. JK.
I'm on my second one.
We're going to put them in little padded white rooms.
I told you, like, I'm going to build an underground bunker and I'm going to put both my kids in there. They're
just keep them there.
It's going to be like that one movie with Brandon Fraser.
Oh!
Where, like, the parents think that the world ended. Yeah. But it was just a plane crash.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was a good one. I can't remember the name of it, but that was a good one.
I forget what it's called, but it's a funny movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's hilarious. You have to see it.
Yeah, so in the beginning, the parents are like, the bombs are coming. And they go in that underground bunker and, like, he's in there up until he's, 30-something years old. They finally ran out of food. So the parents like, you need to go up and see if you could find food. It's like the world's like running. Like,
like
normal. And he's like looking around like, what the hell? Like they tell me that the world ended. And
oh my gosh.
And then finally they get the parents on. He's like, Mom, Dad, like it was just a plane crash. Like
I would have been so mad at my parents. Like, you mother.
Like all these years.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know. There's just so many stories. I'm like,
we can honestly even do a part 2.
Heck yeah. There's so many.
You wouldn't even believe it.
Honestly, I had a hard time like picking like who I was going to talk about. And there's even that show Killer Kids where it's just like a documentary and they have like, I don't know how many seasons, like 12, 14 seasons.
God damn.
Of Killer
Kids. Yeah. It's just
I kind of miss talking about killer clowns.
That was a fun episode.
Yeah. That was random.
A really good episode. I enjoyed that episode a lot. Mainly because Ashley was scared the whole time.
Yay. I'm glad y'all did.
And then we got Ashley got herself drunk when we did the possession episode.
I had to. There was no way I could do that one sober.
We're almost 1 month away from our 1-year anniversary.
What the hell?
We're going to be in September.
That was already a year?
Yeah.
God.
We gotta do it big.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta record naked.
I don't know if you want to see my naked pregnant body.
I've seen your nipples.
That's true. Oh my God. I was like, let's do a drunk episode. Well, y'all be drunk and then I'll drink my virgin margarita.
We could be drunk and then you can like make fun of us.
I'll take care of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave y'all here on the table passed out.
Maddie.
Here's some mixture. Here's waters.
No, all Gato has to do is just like get like a sliver of wine and she's done.
I get
really
fucked up so fast. Hell yeah.
Well, I haven't drinking in a long time too, so I might be able to too.
Yeah, I get drunk fast.
I told Jen, I was like, so right after I have Jason, I want you there outside of my door with a margarita waiting for me. Like, I'm ready to drink here.
I'm going to sneak it in my Yeti.
Hey, girl. Oh, my gosh. I don't know, but this was a really good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Killer children.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if y'all realize the pattern, but we got younger.
Yeah.
In our cases, yours was at 14, 15. 14, yours 15. Was 13, and mine 8 years old.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
a
killer 1-year-old?
Oh my God.
I bet you there is.
I don't know why when you said that I thought of like Chucky. I saw like a little tiny like Chucky child just like with the knife.
Can you just imagine?
I read this one story about this, and I don't know, when I hear like a killer kid and they're like, oh, he was 17, I'm like, he's gonna be an adult like the next month.
In a year.
Yeah, but anyways, it's so stupid. So he killed his parents because he wanted to throw a rager.
A party.
I
saw that.
He wanted to throw a party, but he knew his parents were gonna say no. So he bashed his mom's head in with with the hammer. Same thing with his dad. He put their bodies in the bedroom. He had the big party. He told one of his friends what happened. The friend called the police. He even showed his friend where he put their bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Dumbass. Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, he told his friend, and then after he took a selfie with his friend, so they showed the selfie, and did you see it?
Yeah.
And the friend looks like
he was
he's
on
on
he
this
looks like super uncomfortable. So
uncomfortable.
He somehow got away and like went to the neighbor's house or something and called the police. And so the
I
police
would have
got
too.
there.
I'd have been like, bitch, you fucking crazy.
So supposedly he's like still like in prison or whatever. But
I mean, yeah. Tried as an adult.
all because he wanted to throw a party. I was like, damn, I can't tell Sabrina no.
You want to throw a party? Sure. I'd rather
Girl,
go drink
I'm
in
gonna
the
invite
house.
all of your tias over.
Sure.
We're all gonna drink.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like
drunk.
I remember hearing one where the girl got her boyfriend and his friend to kill her parents because her parents wouldn't let her move in with her boyfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
I know there's a Lifetime movie with I forgot her name. The girl that played Sabrina Teenage Witch. And then
Melissa Joan Hart.
Melissa Joan Hart. There's a Lifetime movie where they didn't let her have like I forgot why she killed her parents. But I think she actually did it for the insurance money, but she manipulated some guy to like shoot her mom and her dad in the head while they were sleeping. Yeah. So she could collect their insurance money.
Hell no.
Bitch. What the hell?
She was a little psycho in that movie. And she documented everything in her diary.
They
So,
always gotta document
I think it was
read your kid's
her
diary.
friend. Yes, I think it was her friend her best friend got very suspicious and like broke into, because I think she was living like with her aunt or something. And she went to the house and she was like, oh, I left something in her room or whatever. And she started reading through her diary. Like she was suspicious. Like she even knew like there's something off. Like there's something not right. Because like she was crying at the funeral. And then like she was out splurging all this money. And then she was bragging. She was bragging about certain things about like that she got from after they died. And the friend was like, no, there's something weird.
Yeah.
Well, she documented all in her diaries how she planned it, how she manipulated the guy. Like, so she took the diaries and like turned them into the police and like she ended up getting arrested. And I just spoiled the movie for y'all, but I don't know what it's called, so you're welcome.
There you go. Oh my god. Mm-mm.
But you know what? And I think about like all the arguments I've had with my parents about them like not letting me go places or like not doing certain things, but never once has it crossed my mind like I'm gonna kill them.
Yeah.
Like
I would get mad and just be like, y'all are mean.
That's the thing. I'm like,
I'd be like, I hate you, and then slam the door, and then later, like I love you.
I was grounded for like 2 years in a row.
What'd you do?
I was really bad.
I was really bad.
Yep.
I don't know who she was. Her name was Miranda.
I don't know who
Juarez
Miranda is.
Mendoza. I don't know. That's why I changed my name to Mandy. No, I'm just kidding. I've always had the nickname Mandy. But I don't know who Miranda was. She was an evil child who did bad things behind her parents' back. Who said that she was going to go to the movies with her friends, but she really went with the boyfriend that she wasn't supposed to have. Yes.
Your mom saw, yep, I remember that.
And I got told on by my aunt and my great grandpa who were passed away. So they told on me.
They're
My
like,
mom-
look at this little
My
girl.
mom would have dreams, and like my aunt's like, she's lying, or my great grandpa's
Amita,
like,
look.
she's lying, she's with the boy, and sure enough, that's who I was with. Yeah. So, anyways, I was a very bad kid for 2 years. Obviously now I'm an angel.
That's
but,
crazy.
Yeah, I remember always getting into arguments with my parents, and like never once has it crossed my mind like I'm gonna plan their murder and I'm gonna murder them. Like, no.
That's crazy.
Who does that?
I've even seen like and read some about like kids like after their parents get divorced, they go on like a crazy freaking like spiral thing because like two different parents and everything. I was like, that didn't happen with me. I was like, what the hell? I was like, the first thing on my mind, 2 Christmases. That was the first thing on my mind. Yeah, 2 of everything. But I was like, never like, let me spiral out of control and kill people.
Yeah.
Like, that's just weird. But like, you can't, I don't know. I guess
You
like,
can't judge, I guess.
Yeah.
People
like-
handle things differently.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know.
It's just weird.
I'm just like, every time, like when Sabrina gets into her teens, Jason too, when he becomes a teenager, after I argue with him, and you better not plan my murder. You'll get caught.
I have cameras.
We have cameras everywhere, and I'm recording this conversation.
I'm gonna like lock the drawer with the knives and be like, I'm locking this, okay?
I'm gonna lock my
No
bedroom at
ideas.
night.
Same.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna be the first suspect.
I'm gonna keep a little note in my pocket. My child did it.
Question my children. Question my children, and if my husband's alive, question him too.
Oh my god.
We're horrible. But we know y'all love us. So if you want to send us any suggestions, go ahead and email us at scarynotScaryPodcast@gmail.com. Visit our website at scarynotScaryPodcast.com. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, subscribe. Don't forget to rate and review us on the iTunes podcast app. Subscribe to us on Spotify and download Podbean. And follow us on Podbean as well.
Yep.
Yeah. You can get notifications when, we post stuff.
Yeah.
How fun.
Do y'all get them? I get them.
What?
Notifications?
Yes.
Of like when our episode comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get them all the time.
It'll pop up. Bing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Podbean's
Scary,
been like
scary.
uploading our episodes onto Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's happening, but it's happening.
Less work for us to do.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's like
But
doing everything.
Podbean's like a whole like universe on its own. It's like its own like fourth
Mystery.
member.
Mhm.
It's its own fourth member of our podcast,
Yeah.
and it does all these things, and we don't know how to do it. And we're
It
like,
just pops up.
it
You're like,
just-
hey, look at this.
I know, I'm like sitting there figuring out how to do it, and it just does it on its own. So I don't know. But yeah, I think that's it. There could be a part 2 to these killer kids. But if you have any suggestions or if there's any stories you want to share, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I think that's it.
That's it.
That's it, y'all.
Mhm.
Make sure y'all buy me a pumpkin spice latte and donuts and everything pumpkin spice. Thank you.
Or stuff with cheese.
Oh, yeah. And if you
Mm.
can eat a whole chicken breast in one bite,
Send us a video.
send us a video.
I
But
need
no
to see
nudes.
this. I'm curious now. That's it. Like my curious thing just
Yeah.
I need to
You know, we're
watch
going
it.
to sit down in a living room and watch YouTube.
Yeah. Just
How
like
fun.
the other time watching those penis-shaped things.
Oh,
Those
they're
were
called
weird.
geoducks or G-ducks.
I showed my mom and she was like,
Oh, and they slap them. They're all... I'm like,
And all the juice comes out. Look up Geoduck ASMR.
Yes, it's spelled G-E-O and then duck.
D-U-C-K. Not
one
D-I-C-K. D-U-C-K.
it's disgusting.
I
gross.
love it.
It's very gross.
I love it.
But after
Love
you
it.
watch it, let us know what you think.
18 and over.
And until next time, remember to always stay